Cozy gaming YouTubers are taking over the internet. And I'm not mad about it because, you know, I might just fall into that category too. Back in January, I was watching a Payton's Corner video where she ranked every single cozy game that she played in 2023. And I was thinking, ooh, I need to play that game. And that's where the idea for this video stemmed. I was like, what if I play other cozy gaming YouTubers S-tier games? And then kind of talk to them about it and tell them what I thought. Is it S-tier for me? I don't know, but I want to play the games that they love too. So in this video, you might just see your favorite cozy gaming YouTuber. And just a big thank you to each creator who took part in this video. It means a lot to me that you trusted me to be in my video, from the editing to just talking to me, setting time aside. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the video and we're just gonna get started. The first game that I played was Tinykin from the Cozy Gaming Club, or Ellie's channel. Tinykin is a puzzle platform cozy game that was released in 2022. You play as Milodane, who lands on Earth and finds himself shrunken down and tiny. Milo quickly becomes friends with Tinykin, who seem to be particularly fond of him. The different colors of the different Tinykin indicate their different abilities. Some Tinykin can create ladders, some bridges, some explosions, some electricity. In this game, you use the help of the Tinykin to travel around the house, finding items to help you rebuild your space shuttle. Along the way, you meet ants and other bugs that are basically your size, who tell you the tale of Ardwin, who they see as a god. So Tinykin is a wholesome and well-made game, highly regarded by Ellie. This is a game that I'm not sure I'd particularly have chosen to play on my own, so I went out of my way to play it because Ellie recommended it and ranked it S tier. So we are gonna tune in and talk to Ellie as I share with her what I thought about Tinykin. Do you wanna give a brief introduction?
Sure. Hi everyone, I'm Ellie from the Cozy Gaming Club. I talk about all of the cozy games and I am Min's biggest fan.
Yep, and I'm your biggest fan. Okay, so I played Tinykin, which you say is an S tier game.
Yes.
Firstly, I was like blown away in the beginning because I didn't know what to expect from this game besides some stuff I've seen in your videos, but there is like voice acting and really high quality art and like cutscenes in this game.
I was so shocked because I'd never heard of this game before, and then I got it, I think, in one of the Humble bundles, and I just thought it looked really cute, and I was like, I'm gonna try it. And then I played it for 7 hours straight, I think, because I was just obsessed with it. I couldn't put it down.
Yeah, that was something about this game. Is obviously I was playing it to do this video, but I found myself really playing it for like 5 hours at a time. And it took me 10 hours to complete the main story. I'm a little slow with games. Do you know how many hours it took you?
Not off the top of my head, but probably somewhere around there, especially as I went to try and get all the collectibles as well, so I didn't just focus on the main story. Yeah,
because I looked it up and it said it was like 6 hours to complete, but I'm like, they're speedrunners or something. In your video, you said you didn't really follow the story very well.
No.
I didn't either.
No way.
And I think it's because, you know, you would have to read all the dialogue to like know what they're talking about. And yeah, I would read the dialogue, but like I think if they did that more in cutscenes that you had to watch, then I would follow it more.
Yeah, I agree. And also I think the plot was quite religious heavy, and there were a lot of really complicated words in it, and it just words that like I didn't know the meaning of and things like that. So I just found myself skipping through it quite quickly because I just couldn't connect to it.
Yeah, that's true. And then at the end, well, maybe I'll get to some other things before that, but I'll come back to that.
Skipping all the way through.
I know, it's like, because it's like the story like wraps up at the end and you're like, wait, what? Okay, what was your favorite ability of the Tinykin?
Oh,
you don't have to know exactly what it was.
Okay,
but
so there was the ones that could weight things down, and there was the sticky ones, I think, that you could climb up. And I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember what they
There's
all
like
were. I really like the angel wing ones. I mean, I don't know if they were meant to be angel wings, but I love that
I think
spread
they were
the
little
wings and
bugs.
they made like a little platform for you to walk up. I really like those ones. I thought they were quite cute.
My favorite were the ladder ones, like you could climb up them and get taller.
Yeah.
And whenever I'd go back to the main area of the game where you would like go to find the next level or area, I don't know, like the main part of
Like
the game.
the hub.
Like the part where he was like, where the rocket ship thing was.
Mhm.
Where you didn't have any Tinykin. I would be trying to use that and I'd be like, oh wait, I don't have any Tinykin with me.
I was so sad that we couldn't bring them back there. Like we had to leave them in each section.
I know. I hated that, but it was also, it made you want to collect them all right when you started, and you're like, oh wait, I need blue ones or green ones or whatever. So I feel like it actually did add to the game, but I would be like, ugh. I did have some trouble like going around the map in certain levels or certain, I guess I call it a level, but like the next room of the game.
Yeah.
Like when we're in the kitchen, I'm like, oh, I saw the flower over there, and now I'm like standing on top of the fan and I'm like, where is it? Oh, I can't find it anymore. So I would get like lost a little bit.
Yeah, they do like a pan over the level at the start, and when it got to actually starting the level, I'd be like, okay, I remember that being over there, and then I'd do like a spin, and I'd be like, but I don't know where that is.
I know. Another thing I liked about the game is that when you would die, you would just respawn right where you had jumped off.
Yeah. The first time I died, it was so funny. I just got my soap surfer, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I went surfing, I saw water and thought, yes, surfing over water, surfed straight into the middle of it, and then everything started fizzing and I couldn't get out of it entirely.
I know. What was that? Like acid? Yeah. I know.
I think it's meant to be like water gets into the electronics of your suit, and
oh yeah,
that's what causes it, but
that's true.
I wanted to run through the water.
I know, because yeah, I was just like, oh, let me walk over there, and then it's like, and I'm like, wait, what? I think that's the first way I died too, actually. And I love the cutscenes, like when you get everything into the bathtub, and then they're all like, yay! And they're like having a party, and it was so cute.
Oh yeah,
and
when all the fireworks start going off.
Yeah, so that made it really satisfying to finish. Okay, now we'll get to the ending. I got really confused at the end when they're like, oh, this rope just dropped down. Go check it out. I kept climbing the wrong rope, going back to the room I was just in, and then being like, what am I looking for? Until I realized I was jumping off the long rope. So I wondered if you're smarter than me or if you did that too.
No, I think I figured it out. But I was just confused by the ending in general, because right before I got to the ending, I found like a hidden area, and I'd just been exploring that area, and I thought I was going back to that area, and then ended up in the ending of the game instead.
Oh, I don't think I had
I
that.
really wanted to go back there, because when I went there the first time, I didn't have enough of the climbing things to explore it properly.
Okay.
But then I couldn't find the way back there because I couldn't remember where it was.
Yeah, I was like confused at the end, kept going the wrong way, and then I'm like, oh, let me go this way, and then I got back to like the first room you started in when you start the game, and then they're like, do you want to do a race and see how fast you can get to this? Did you do that? And then I'm like,
the first one, yeah.
Yeah, and then I was doing that for a while. So I feel like also for this 10 hours of time it took me to complete this, I was also doing random stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I was so annoyed when I did the racing and I got the gold medal, and I was like, yes, finally. It took me so long, and then it unlocked the platinum level, and I just left. I couldn't face it.
So yeah, I'm glad you recommended this game. You say it's an S tier. Do you think I think it's an S tier?
It sounds like you think it's an S tier. I mean, you're very excited. You might mark it down though for getting lost a little bit.
Well, I think I was like had to think about it so hard. I was like, I don't think I'd replay it or go back. Maybe go back for some achievements, but I don't know, because some were kind of hard. So I would say an A tier, but like I totally get why it's an S tier, and it's not a game I would typically like play. It has a lot of, I guess, platforming.
Yeah, I was surprised. I don't normally play a lot of platformers. I think Nail Time is one of the only platformers. I mean, they're not real platformers like Mario and all of that sort of stuff, or
Yeah.
Celeste. They're some of the only platformers I've played, and I really enjoyed them.
But yeah, so I would say A tier for me. Like, this game was so good, and people should definitely try it, you know?
Well,
So,
I'm
yeah.
going to introduce you to a new A tier game, if not an S tier game.
I know, I feel mean saying it's not S tier. You know, we all have different opinions on it. We all have different S tier games. Like, I've seen so many of these videos ranking, and games that I'm like, that's an S tier or D tier on other people. I feel
Yeah,
like,
I was guilty of a few of those.
yeah, that's
Great
good.
idea. And I can't wait to see what other games you get to play. Thank you for having me, and thank you for checking out Tinykin on my recommendation.
Yes, and everybody go check out Ellie. She has an amazing YouTube channel, and I'm her biggest fan, so. The next game I played was called Rakuen, which was inspired by Payton's Corner. Rakuen is an older game from 2017, I think, is what it said on Steam. I had heard of it and picked it up on sale, but after hearing Payton rank it S tier, I knew I needed to play it. Rakuen is a heartstring pulling, story-rich JRPG puzzle game, and this game has the perfect mix of cozy and colorful versus eerie and thought-provoking. This game released in 2017 and was made in RPG Maker. It's on Nintendo Switch and PC. The game is about a boy who lives in the hospital. His mom has been reading him a story about Morizora from the book Rakuen. In order to make his wish come true, he must help those around him find closure, and in doing so, he might just be able to wake up Morizora and ask for his wish. In Payton's video, she said it's one of the best games she's ever played and that she hadn't finished it yet. So let's tune in with Payton and discuss the game with her. So hi, Payton.
Hi, Min. Thank you for having me. Is this where I do my intro?
Yeah, if you want to just say who you are and where you're from, as if no one knows you.
They probably don't, but
I
hello.
think so.
Oh, no. Well, thank you. My name is Payton. I run a YouTube channel called Payton's Corner, where I talk about all things cozy gaming and pretty much try to play the cute games while being a little bit crazy and chaotic and just having a good time overall.
Okay. And you have like your
Yeah.
brand colors on your sweater today.
I do. That was unintentional. It was unintentional. I just needed something cozy and cute.
I love it. Okay, so I played, how do you even say this? Rakuen?
Yeah. I've been saying it is Rakuen.
That's what I
hope
said
that's
too.
right. I'm gonna have a crisis. That's what I've been saying the whole time.
I say Rakuen because it's like the Japanese, how the letters, the kanji are, so that's what I assumed it was.
Oh, okay.
But
see, I didn't even know that.
But it might be a little faster and sound like Rakuen, but as long as we know what we're talking about, I think we're fine. I've streamed this one on Twitch when I played it, which maybe takes away.
I saw you were, and I didn't click on it on purpose because I was like, oh, I don't want to spoil. I don't know. I want to know what you think about it.
I know, right? So yeah, so I actually learned a lot from streaming it, but I think it does. Maybe it taints the experience a little bit, but I think. Like not playing it on your own, but I think it was really good. I played it on there because every time I got stuck, I had help.
Yeah, I get
so
that.
That was good. But we were kind of talking about this earlier, but how far into the game do you remember you got? Do you remember what puzzle? I might have to help you remember.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was, I was dealing with, in the Rakuen side, like the magical Rakuen side, I was looking for the lost character. Like the lost like wife, I think it was. Wasn't it? There's like
Gemma?
a character. Maybe. They're not like elves, but they're these cute little like whimsical little guys. And I think they were mirroring the real life situation of the couple where I think it was the wife that was in the coma.
Yeah, that's Gemma, I think.
Yeah. That situation was the one I recall last dealing with when I played.
Yeah, that's Gemma.
Yeah.
Gemma and her husband, I can't remember his name.
I remember crying and listening to the music is what I remember.
The husband that would like be visiting her all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one that sticks out to me as the last part I remember getting to.
So when I first started the game, I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna
You're
hate
like, is this gonna be sad?
Well, I was like, I'm gonna hate this because I was confused. I had no idea where I was supposed to go
Yeah.
after talking to the guy in the beginning, and I was just clicking around, and then I realized, oh, I have to just like drop that and just look around, and that's the point of the game.
Yeah.
So I get scared I'm gonna get stuck and then just quit. So after I got out of that, I was good. But yeah, I did think it was gonna be a psychological horror or something when I first started.
No.
Just because the guy in the first scene is Yami, and he's talking to this creepy boy that lives in the hospital.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I was like, what the heck is this, Peyton?
So wait, did you not read? Wait, so you didn't like know the description of the game, or you fully just went off of like
video,
what I. Oh,
and
okay.
I guess I just forgot everything about it. And I had bought this game prior and had it in my library.
Yeah.
Just because people were like, oh, it's like Studio Ghibli. Anything like that, I'll just buy.
Yeah.
I don't know why they said that. I kind of get it. But
yeah.
And then once I saw like Rakuen and like the book open and everything, I really liked the two sides of the world. Like,
yeah.
The really colorful, cutesy coziness, and then the other side where it's like not so cozy. It's the real world. It's like all the stuff that's painful and hard. So
yeah,
and the character storylines were really, really good. So
I can't believe you streamed it. I was too scared to play it on live stream because I thought the subject was gonna be like, I mean, it was a lot for me as like someone who has like dealt with health problems for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But so I was like, I'm not gonna, but I don't know, like I just like cried so much. So I appreciate you like showing it to people because I never see anybody stream. I know it's an older game now, but I don't really see people like stream it that much.
The game's from 2017 and it was made in RPG Maker. Did you start playing it because it was recently released to the Switch?
I did. I first found out about it because it was actually one of the first ever cozy game like list videos I did. It was so extra special. So it was March of last year and Rakuen Deluxe was coming out for Nintendo Switch, and I had heard just a little bit about the second game in the collection, Mr. Saitao. And I recognized it and didn't realize there was this whole big game that was like the same universe. So I instantly just like fell in love with the idea of it because I really like the idea of cozy games not just being like for kids. Like it can be cutesy, but not like for kids. And I was really interested in like this very like dark, like emotional adult story, but told through this like very whimsical, like almost like childlike wonder way. So I was instantly like, oh, I gotta check that out. And then that's what made me want to play it. I didn't know about it until it came to Switch.
Okay, that's awesome. So something I learned because I streamed it is that the creator of this game, who of course I'm blanking on her name, I think it's Lara something.
I think it's Shashi. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on it too.
I'll put it on the screen. But she did like all the music, and she's a musician, and she streams on Twitch. So people that saw that I'm streaming this from her community like came over and helped me and were so cute, and they were such big fans of her, and it's so precious, and that kind of made the experience like so special to me that so many people love this game and like love what she created. So that was really, and they had like little things like there's this one part where there's a cat in the closet and most players don't find that cat in the closet, and you can then put it in. I don't even
know if I found the cat in the closet now.
Yeah, his name's OG, and he like you can drop him off in the like the one area of the game, the like community area of the hospital. Yeah, you can like put him in there. So like stuff like that was cool to find out. I don't know. I thought that was really special.
Yeah, that is really special. I remember I interacted with her a little bit. They very kindly sent me the game.
Oh, that's so
And
cool.
yeah, and I remember just like being when I finally played the game, and I specifically remember when I listened to the music of the game, I was like, "Oh my, like this is I don't know, for me, I think this game was one of the first times I've realized like video games are art. Like this was like a piece of art,
Mhm.
and the music just like got me. I was like, "Oh, this is like so fantastic." I think that's so cool though that her community came and interacted with you.
I
That's so
know.
special.
I thought the puzzles were like a good difficulty.
Yeah.
I just get stuck because like I can't think of
No,
things, and I
same.
never play puzzle games, so
I
I'm just
think
like,
that's I think that's my one complaint for the game is I wish there was like a hint system,
mm.
because there were a couple times where I was like, I don't know what to do and I don't know how to proceed. And eventually we got there, but I'm like that too. I get as soon as I get stuck and then I'm like, oh no, like it's all over. Like I can't. What do I do now?
I
So I get
know.
that.
And like I just didn't want to use a guide for it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do use a guide, but with this one I was like, I don't want to. Like I want to figure it out.
Yeah.
But like you said earlier, I really liked the realness mixed with like the fantasy. And I liked that the game had really good world building and like sucked you in.
Yeah.
I won't tell you the ending, but this is
I
one
know. I
game.
know. It's like cuckoo.
You've
I've
seen the
heard.
ending?
I haven't seen the ending, but I've been told that it will destroy me. So I feel like using my context clues about how far I did get, I feel like I can imagine how it ends.
Yeah. I feel like this is the one game to get the ending of, especially because it ties everything together in a bow. It's just like really good, but it also, yeah, it's really emotional.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really good game. I'm really glad I played this one and
Oh,
that
good. I'm
you,
glad you liked it.
yeah.
I was
So,
worried. I was like, "Oh, no, I hope it's not, like, too sad."
oh my gosh, I think that's how everyone's feeling about the games I'm playing for this video. They're like, I hope she likes
Yeah,
it.
I'm like, doubting everything. I know, like, when we make these videos, and I'm sure you feel the same way, like, you stick to your opinions and, you tell people to take your own opinion with, like, a grain of salt. Yours might differ from someone else's, but of
Mhm.
course, I'm like, "Oh my god," like, I hope you always want people to like the stuff you like, so I was a little
Yeah,
nervous.
right. Well, I agree with your S tier on this. Like
Oh,
this one,
yay! I'm
yeah,
glad.
I didn't have to even think about it. I
Oh,
really like it. I
good.
want to play the sequel.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
heard it's not as like long,
It's not sad.
not
It's
as
like
sad or
it's the
whatever.
same universe, but, it's, like, more lighthearted, is what it is.
Okay. This also made me want to get more into like story-ish games because I feel like didn't feel like I was reading a book, but I felt the same way, like I was sucked into it in that way.
Yeah.
With other games, I feel that way sometimes, but not as much as I did with this one. I was like, oh my gosh, like so invested, I guess.
I love that. Well, I'm so glad that you not that you agree, but, like, you liked it and that you got a really nice experience out of not only the game, but your
Mhm.
experience streaming the game, because I do think that often shapes how we look at the games too, and,
Mhm.
that's so fun.
Right. Yeah. And it's always nice when a game has a really good community around it. It's really good. I think more people should play it. I feel like like knowing that who the person is behind the game sometimes gives me a little more like, I don't know, attachment to it because I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
this person like put their own experiences and own like thought into this game and their own music
Yeah.
and this game just does that all really well. So I really liked it.
Yay! I'm so glad.
Yeah, so thanks for recommending it and being part of my video.
Of course. Thank you for having me, and thank you for playing it.
I'm like, in Peyton's video, she said it's one of the best games she ever played. Do you remember saying that?
I do remember
Okay.
saying that. It was an emotion. I was sobbing while I was playing it.
Good.
I remember.
The next game I played was Mineko's Night Market by my favorite nerd in the whole world. That nerd, Violet, recommended this one. Mineko's Night Market is a narrative-driven game that focuses on crafting items for the weekly night market and solving puzzles to reveal the mystery behind the sun cat Nico. You play as Mineko, who just moved into a new town and is hoping to make this new place feel like home. In a monthly ranking video, Violet ranked Mineko's Night Market in the S tier, but does she still stand by that ranking with all of the flack that this game got? Let's tune in with Violet and find out.
Hi, my name is Violet from channel That Nerd Violet, and I make videos on cozy gaming news and Let's Plays.
Yes, and Violet's also an awesome Twitch streamer too.
Thank
you. You can find her there. But yeah, so I played Mineko's Night Market for you, and I thought it was really fun, and I was actually very surprised by this game. Did you play through the whole story?
Most of it, I'd say I probably got 5 or 10 hours in, though I did have to repeat some sections. The secret agents eluded me several times. I loved it. I thought it was such like a breath of fresh air when it came out, especially in like a sea of farming sims. So it was really fun, and I loved the humor in the game a lot, and that just kept me wanting to play more and more.
Yeah, when I watched your ranking video, I was like, oh, she put this S tier, because I felt like this game got a lot of flack back just because of its launch to the Switch, and a lot of people have a Switch, so they couldn't really enjoy the game. I don't even know what was really happening with all of that.
So when I played it on Steam, so I think I dodged the Nintendo Switch bullet. And last year, unfortunately, I had found that most of the ports going to the Switch were just terrible. So I started playing more on Steam, and then my community ended up getting me a Steam Deck, and I feel like I haven't looked back now.
I know. I love my Steam Deck, and I played this game mostly on my Steam Deck.
Oh, you did?
With very little issues. The only issue I had was when I wanted to crouch, I had to reprogram that key because for some reason it wouldn't work.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Super weird. But yeah, other than that.
Was it like no crashing or anything?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, good.
Did you have that?
No, nothing. But I know that that was one of the problems for the Switch, and that's what I feel like was so unfortunate about it and what overshadowed the game itself.
Yeah, which really stinks because it is a really great game. Yeah. So the humor is something you mentioned, and that was good.
I loved the dialogue and just like the jokes, but like the dad puns and just the weirdness of it, but it was also so simultaneously charming, and you kept wanting to find out more about the story.
Yeah, and the story does get more like serious as it goes on, and I don't know if you got to this part, but there's this part where they kind of like all the parents and the grandma come up and they see the kids and they're like, wow, you guys were doing all of this, that's great. And then the adults are like starting to reminisce on like, Nico helped me back in the day, and they're like telling these stories, and then the grandma starts telling the story too, and then Boba's like, okay, we don't really need to hear your stories.
All right, shut up now, please. Thank you.
It was like this heartwarming moment. He's like, can you guys like stop it? It was just funny. It just like kind of threw you through a loop like you weren't expecting it.
I love that.
Yeah, so I liked that. I also liked playing a game like this because it was very low key for me, especially in the beginning where I'm like, okay, the first week or whatever, I just have to walk around and make these things, get ready for the market. And then as you do that, then it starts to like go forward a little bit and you have this storyline that opens up. I did notice like there is a lot of repeated dialogue from the NPCs, but I really didn't care about that.
I feel like it wasn't enough to take me out of the story because the parts that mattered were so unique and tailored to it. Because I feel like a lot of with other cozy games, you'll get that. I feel like one of the more recent ones I played where the repetitiveness did get to me was Fae Farm with the NPCs. I still like the game, but that was definitely something where I was like, this is not the best. So yeah, it didn't bother me too much.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that with Fae Farm, that only bothered me because it's like I expected a life sim where if I can marry these people, I want that. Where in this game, I felt like it was more catered to the crafting and that you get recipes by crafting what these people want. So it wasn't really about the relationships, even though there was like a
Right.
relationship tier thing.
For sure, for sure. I feel like because of the goals for this game, that's what they did well. They did it well with the plot. They did it well with like the side quests, if you even want to call them that. Um,
Okay, another thing which you kind of have a little like I don't know how to say it, but like you could sway my opinion on this game because I can't decide if it's S or A because of the like UI issues. So like one of the things is like when you squeeze the fish, which took me forever to figure out that you could squeeze them, even though I read the dialogue about that.
that was hard. That was hard. I feel like they didn't explain that well.
Yeah, but you have to go in, squeeze it, blah, 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 and like putting stuff on your table, you have to like go back in and out of these menus. And after a while of playing it, it does get annoying. Or like adding things to the museum, it doesn't tell you what you already added in. So there was some stuff with that. And I'm like, should I dock it for that?
I think it can get tedious. I will say that. Is it enough to keep wanting to find out more about the story? And could they have made the UI a lot simpler since you know you have to do it every week, right? Like in between everything, it's something that you constantly have to come back to. I do believe they could have made it a little bit more user friendly so that it didn't seem as monotonous as you were playing.
I would say that didn't take away enough for me
Mm-hmm.
to not love this game. Like I actually really enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting anything from the game because I didn't really look into this one. I wanted to play this one. It also had like mystery to it, heartwarming story, like so many cute characters and creative things. And I know this game was in the works for a really long time, like in
Yeah.
Nintendo Directs and stuff, and people were waiting for it. And if you do go back in and play it, like the ending was really interesting
Okay.
because you don't really have like a closure thing, but you kind of do. So that was interesting.
Do you think there will potentially be a sequel? Is it open enough for one?
I don't think in that way. I think it's more like it pulls at your heartstrings and then it kind of is like, okay, that's it. Like,
Okay, bye.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I love crying and then just leaving. That's great.
Yeah. So super interesting. Also the puzzles.
Some of
Like-
them were really hard, I will say. And I've played puzzle games that are difficult. Like I have played Resident Evil puzzle games. Like if you know, you know. And I feel like some of the puzzles were like on the same level as that. Like I needed outside help.
Yeah. It's like I would get a little like annoyed at times and be like, okay, I'm done with this and I'm just try it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it wasn't enough for me not to like want to try it again. So
Yeah.
I also liked that. Like it was kind of funny too because like you could just walk past the agent and they're like right next to you and you're like, but
Yep.
they didn't shine their flashlight on me, so they didn't see me.
Yep. And then other times you would just get inundated with flashlights because it was like the worst timing if you were to turn to the left or to the right. It's like boom, 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 boom. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly.
Weave and bob, weave and bob.
Yeah, some of them I'm like, how am I gonna get past this light? But then you figure it out and then it's like satisfying for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna just stick with S tier, especially because in the beginning. Yeah, because in the beginning I was like, "This is S tier, this is S tier," and then as I got a little farther, I'm like, "Do I dock it for the UI and stuff?" But I feel like everyone's way of ranking is different. But for the enjoyment, I liked that it's similar to Farming Sim, but it's totally not. And yeah, there was
It's like adjacent, farming sim adjacent.
yeah, and someone also mentioned to me that they thought this game was grindy. Did you think that?
Think so. Again, I think that there were some parts that could be tedious, but I was so enthralled with like the storyline. It seemed like, one of those almost like a Stranger Things-esque storyline where you have these kids trying to solve this mystery and the adults are blissfully unaware, at least in the beginning. You're trying to get things together in order to solve the mystery. And yeah, you have to repeat things certain times, but Oh, it just sucked me in and kept me wanting more, and I really
Yeah.
enjoyed that aspect.
There was a part where I needed more flowers, and I didn't realize in the beginning of the game I should have like really been collecting them.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then I
Okay.
needed them to craft something for this like part of the story. That wasn't that bad. Like I actually liked that I had to like go through the seasons and play the game and get the flowers and go to the night market and try to see if they're at the stand that sells the flowers and see if I could buy them.
Yeah.
So
In games, like, where they basically time gate you, or I guess as a blessing or as a curse, um, because obviously, I think a lot of people want something that they can continuously play, maybe 5, 10, 15, 50 hours. So, I didn't mind that at all,
yeah,
personally.
yeah. So I didn't really mind that either. It kind of gave me motivation to be like, oh, let me do this, let me do that, let me try
Yeah.
this. I have to make different recipes that don't use those flowers because I can save them. So that's just how I functioned with the game.
Mhm.
So other people might not like that, but I didn't mind it. So
Yeah, I didn't mind it either. Same page.
so yeah, so good for you for
Yay!
we're a match.
S tier, S tier.
S tier. Thank
It
you
was a
so
good
much.
game. Thank you for playing it, and thanks for enjoying it. I'm glad that you enjoyed your time spent.
The next game is Rune Factory 3 Special. This game was remastered and it was ported from the Nintendo DS to the Nintendo Switch. The game was originally released in 2009. In this Rune Factory installment, you play as Micah, who has amnesia and soon finds out that he has the ability to turn into a woolly monster. Humans and monsters do not coexist in this game, but being half monster himself, he sets out to find a way for humans and monsters to live in harmony. The gameplay entails farming, fighting, romancing, and more. It's really a true blend of RPG with farming sim elements. This game was recommended by none other than Josh's Gaming Garden, whose channel I've been a fan of for a long time now. Josh ranked all of the farming games he played in 2023, and he put Rune Factory 3 in the S tier. I already owned this game because I got it for Christmas as a gift, but I had not played it yet, so this was the perfect pick for this video. Hi, Josh!
Hi, Min.
Do you want to just say a little bit about yourself and your channel?
Yeah, so my name is Josh, and I have a channel. It's called Josh's Gaming Garden. And on that channel, I talk about farming games. So I have reviews, tips, live streams. My favorite series are Story of Seasons, as well as Rune Factory.
Yeah, so it's perfect because I played Rune Factory 3, which you rated S tier in a video. Was it?
Was my
It was
tier
from
list
2023.
of all the farming games I played in 2023, yes.
Yes. And I've played Rune Factory 4 before. I was a little late to it, so I played it, the special one on the Switch. And I loved it, and I played it for like maybe 60 hours or something. And then I heard that Rune Factory 5 was coming out, and then I was like, I need to finish the game. And then I went and finished it and beat that siren boss that was so hard and finished the game. And then I got Rune Factory 5. I wasn't really into that one. I don't know why. I don't know why. I think I was like burnt out from the other one or something. So I was really happy to go back to this one because I hadn't played this one before, and it was like the old graphics and stuff, which I just like better. Do you have a preference on the graphical style or anything?
Yeah, I definitely really love the graphical styles of like Rune Factory 3 and 4, the older like top-down 2D style. I do love some of the older 3D games like Rune Factory Frontier and Oceans or Tides of Destiny, depending on your region.
Ooh.
But Rune Factory 5, I just felt like the world didn't have too much details. It was not like very immersive. It didn't look that great. I love both 3D and like top-down 2D, but just the way it was done in Rune Factory 5, I feel like was not the best. So for the Switch, I think I do prefer Rune Factory 4 and 3's style.
Yeah, and I didn't play them on DS or 3DS, so I don't even know like what the big differences are, but yeah, I do prefer them better.
Yeah.
So I did have
I mean, they
better,
didn't
much
change
better
too. It's
experience.
like everything's like in HD, and like they did a few. You redid some of the assets, but it looks pretty much the same as it did on the DS and 3DS.
Yeah, it's a remaster, not a remake.
Exactly.
Like A Wonderful Life was like a remake because they had to redo all the graphics, they had to redo story and like everything. Where this was just like porting it over, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. They added a few things, but it was mostly the same experience.
I think if they remade it, they would have added like different options, like you could be a boy or girl, or you could do this or that. Which,
Yeah. That's one thing with this game. You can tell it's a bit older because you can choose your gender, and it doesn't have like all the quality of life features that later games have. For example, one thing with 3, I know it's an S tier game for me, but it's still not perfect. For example, if you put something in the shipping bin by accident, you can't take it back. It happens to me time I was carrying something and I just pressed the wrong button and I sold it. And I wanted to take it back and I couldn't. So there's lots of little things like that. Like if you've played Rune Factory 4 and 5, you're used to these little quality of life things that you don't have in 3. So that's, I mean, I still think it's an amazing game, but yeah, you can tell it's definitely older.
What's impressive about it, though, for being an older game are some of the mechanics of like you can pick up all these things, just hold A and pick up all of them, or you can like throw them into the box. I love that.
Yeah,
It makes it so
it's so
easy.
satisfying.
Yeah. Also, it's really funny because when I'm farming, it's like, and I'm cleaning up the like garden, I can get all these seeds, and I like never have to buy seeds because I'm just giving me all these seeds from like picking stuff up. So, and something about this compared to like Rune Factory 4. So Rune Factory 3, it seems like there's a lot less of like areas to explore when you're going through the combat areas. Like you can get to the end of it pretty quick. Like I could just run through all the monsters and like get to the end and be like, okay, now I can get to the boss. Which I'm guilty of doing that because I just like, why would I fight these ones along the way if I could just run through? But I feel like for leveling up or something. So yeah, there's a lot less areas, which honestly, going back in to play this game, it made me less overwhelmed because I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be playing this for like 60 hours because I feel like I wasn't ready for a 60-hour like game, you know?
Yeah, that's one thing I like with Rune Factory 3 is that most Rune Factory games are pretty long. And this game, you can play it for a long time if you try to complete everything at 100%. Because there's like the maze after the main story. You can still grind to like, there's all these different levels. You can upgrade your equipment. So if you want to play it for 100 hours, you can. But yeah, the main story is definitely a lot shorter than other Rune Factory games. For me, it took me about 20 hours. And there's just like 4 or 5 dungeons. There's not a lot, and as you said, they're all pretty short. You just walk a few maps, and then you're ready for the boss.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that it's a like more compact experience than recent games.
Yeah. I felt like Rune Factory 4 had a really strong story for me, like trying to remember back. And this one I felt didn't have as strong of a story for me. At least I didn't finish the game yet. I'm at like the death wall boss.
Maybe you should finish the game.
I know, I need to, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a simpler story. I feel like Rune Factory 4 had like these 3 arcs, and there was like always so many things happening.
Yeah.
I feel like 3 is simpler. That's also kind of why I like it. The story is like really easy to follow along, and it's a cute story, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. So do you feel like the story kind of wraps up really well, like in the end?
I think it does wrap up
okay.
nicely. Yeah.
Yeah. Because like I told you, like where I'm at now in the game, I feel like it's A, but I also feel like I feel like it's very much has to do with like how I feel about playing a game in some ways. Like I feel like if I played it maybe a couple years ago when I played Rune Factory 4, I'd be more invested, but I feel like I've changed my like style of game that I like a little bit, and I'm more into like just like the casual farming, and I feel like this is more grindy, and maybe I wasn't like, it's not super grindy. I feel like if I did more preparing and stuff, I would be better. I like to just play games more for like story and relaxation and stuff. But yeah, I feel like my like preferences for games has changed a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's definitely a little bit grindy, especially like between the different dungeons. like if you don't spend some time to level up or like upgrade your equipment, you will struggle a little bit. Whereas I found that in like Rune Factory 5, you didn't have to grind at all. You could just like go through the whole story without stopping to grind or anything. Personally, that's one thing I really love. I love a little bit of grinding in games. Not too much, but like a little bit. I find it fun. I find it relaxing and cozy to just like mindlessly grind. Sometimes I find
Yeah.
it relaxing. So yeah, it really depends. I don't think it's a game that will appeal to everybody. It really depends
Mhm.
what kind of experience you're looking for, because it's not the most challenging game, but it can be also a little bit challenging at times.
Yeah.
Like the bosses and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, and I know you love Harvest Moon, like original Harvest Moon, and I'm guessing you probably played these ones maybe when you were younger too, like the Rune
hmm
Factory series. Is that right?
Well, I grew up mostly with the Harvest Moon games.
Okay.
My first Rune Factory was Tides of Destiny on the
Right.
Wii.
More of Harvest Moon growing up and then playing Rune Factory when it was on the Wii. Is that what you said?
Yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
then I played 4 and then 5, and then I went back to the older ones. Uh,
Cool.
yeah. So now I do really like the series, but I think I still do prefer like the old Harvest Moon games and Story of Seasons. They're just, I don't know, it kind of depends on my mood. Sometimes I don't feel like fighting, stuff like that. I just want to
Yeah. Yeah,
chill and,
for
yeah.
sure. Which I think that's why I found Rune Factory 4 so fun and refreshing though when I first found it, is because I had played all Harvest Moon stuff and all farming games, and that's how I got into this, and then I got back into gaming,
Mm,
and I was like, wait, I really like this because it gives me that feeling of Harvest Moon, but it's different and it's new. And so
yeah,
that's how I think felt back then.
that's true. It was so different back then because we didn't have too many farming games like we have today. So that was pretty much the only series, and there was never any combat in it.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
so many farming games have combat in it, so it's not as unique anymore.
Mhm.
But definitely when it first came out, yeah.
But something specifically in Rune Factory 3 and in 4, and just in the series that I really like is that they have character portraits, that the character designs are really good, but most of all, the characters' dialogue is so rich and so good, and there's so many things, and if you didn't talk to them for a while, they're like, "Hey, I haven't talked to you for a while," and it's so funny, and I love it. I
Yeah, the
feel like
dialogues in the Rune Factory games are always top notch, and that's one thing I loved with Rune Factory 3 is that it feels like everybody's so unique and like quirky. Like there's this girl who like talks and like opposite. Like she always says the contrary of like what she
yes.
wants to say. And like it feels like everybody has a little something unique about them, so you can like remember the characters, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Easily. So you get attached to them.
Yeah, and I didn't really mind that I had to play as Micah, and I couldn't be a female character. I didn't
Mm.
really mind that. I think it is nice to have the option, but I also know it's like an older game ported over, so I'm just happy to be able to play it easily on the Switch. And I liked the like woolly aspect. You can turn into a woolly. I wasn't really sure how to utilize it the best though when I was playing, because I ended up just using like weapons and like being Micah instead of being the woolly version.
Yeah, I feel like there are a few quests where you have to be a woolly, but most of the
Yeah.
time it's really kind of up to you. It's almost just like a different weapon. I kind of
Mhm.
wish they had utilized that a little bit more and that you're maybe forced to be a woolly a little bit more often because it is really cute and it is really fun, but you can also do pretty much the whole game without using that feature much. But it is a really nice feature though. It is cute. But yeah, maybe they could have utilized it a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I'm on the death wall boss, and I feel like it's gonna take me some time to level up again because I just got to that. But I'm like, oh, I should have focused more on the farming and more on that because it does actually help a lot with the game. So they really kind of merge those two together really well because you have
hmm
to like use the farming to level up and to have money to buy other things, and I feel like they merge it pretty well. But if you do neglect the farming, I'm like, oh crap, now I need to like buy something and I can't because I have to get more money and I spend it on this or whatever.
Yeah, you definitely cannot neglect the farming. That's one thing I love with the Rune Factory series, because when you farm, you do get lots of different level ups. So you it increases all your skills, and then you use the food for cooking and all of that. So I really like how it uses both, because there are some games where you have farming and fighting, but they don't feel connected. They don't feel like you need one for the other. So that's one thing I do love with Rune Factory. And
Yeah.
yeah, as we said earlier, the farming is so satisfying to just like
Mm-hmm.
pick everything up one by one and like throw everything in the shipping bin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who did you marry in the game?
I married
Do you remember?
Shara just
Okay.
because she was the easiest one to like marry, because you talk with her a lot in the story and she's like always at the flower shop, so she's like so easy to meet and like gift and everything like that. Because it does take quite some time to increase your friendships, like your relationships in this game. So I went for Shara. So
Okay.
she's cute. I mean, yeah.
I liked Pia because she has the like pink hair, or it's like purpley pink, and then she has like the
Mm.
cute little ears. I just think she was cute, and she likes fruit and squid, so fruit wasn't too hard. But
But yeah, this game
um,
has a good like, even though there's no like, you can't play as a female character and there's no same-sex marriage, but there's still a good variety with the bachelorettes. I think there's like, how many of them? I don't want to say the wrong number. I feel like I want to say 10, maybe more. I'm
yeah,
not sure.
I
There's
have
like
to look at
there's
my
like
little
a really
booklet.
good there's a really good number of them, so and they're all very unique.
Yeah, yeah, but I feel like I just love that we have all the different cozy creators to like go through and play the games. I feel like if I ever want to know about story seasons or like Rune Factory, I feel like you're really good to go to because you love those games in that series. And I feel like a lot of people do give the series, like especially story seasons and Rune Factory 4, a little more harder opinion these days, especially if they're
Yeah.
newer into cozy gaming,
Yeah.
and they didn't start with these games. So I feel like I can, because I did play like a lot of Harvest Moon and I understood Rune Factory 4 a little bit because
Mhm.
I played it right when I was starting to be into content creation. So I wasn't, I was in like reading Reddit like any other person about like, oh, how do I
Yeah.
get this thing and that thing, and so I feel like it's a really awesome that you love the game and it's S tier for you. I feel like for me it just wasn't at this time, and that stinks for me. I have that with a lot of games
Oh.
recently where I'm just like but I love to play games that other people love, so this was really fun.
Oh, so what tier did you give it?
I think I said A earlier, but I think I texted you B, right? Because I'm just looking at
I'm
my
not
notes now.
sure.
Yeah, I think like A or B, maybe. It's really hard to
They're pretty
rank
good. Yeah,
sometimes,
I know.
but
It's so subjective too. Sometimes just depending
yeah,
on your mood. Maybe if you review
yeah,
it tomorrow, it'll be an S.
yeah. And it does feel a little unfair because I didn't get to see the whole story all the way through quite yet. But
Yeah.
I feel like it's
Just push
gonna.
through it. You're almost there. You're almost
I
there.
know, I'm almost there, so it could
Yeah.
change. But yeah, so thank you so much for doing this with me. And
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
yes,
And thank you for playing
absolutely.
Rune Factory 3. I feel like there's not a lot of people that talked about that game. When it came out, there were not a lot of like content creators covering it. Especially like
Hmm.
last year, there were so many games that released at that
Yeah.
time, like
And it
that
was in
month.
September or something.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much, Josh.
Thank you.
And the final game that I played was Pikmin 4. This was my first Pikmin game ever, and it was rated S tier by Iona. Pikmin are small plant life creatures with distinct and unique abilities. In Pikmin 4, you guide, gather, and grow Pikmin in order to help you on a rescue mission to find your missing crew members on an Earth-like planet. Pikmin 4 uses a lot of strategy in order to progress to different areas in the game, and you must use your brain to figure out how the Pikmin and your dog Ochi can properly help you out. Iona mentioned this game in a video where she ranked every game she played in 2023. So let's tune in with Iona and talk about this game.
Hi, my name's Iona. I'm a cozy gaming Nintendo content creator here on YouTube and on Twitch, who tends to put the chaotic into cozy, in that I love cozy games, but I myself am not maybe the most cozy person on earth. But either way, I play a ton of cozy games, and that's kind of my vibe.
Yeah, and so for you, I played Pikmin 4,
Woo.
and I was just telling you, you didn't say like a whole lot about it in your video when you ranked it S tier. That made me think like, oh, this is definitely S tier. Like you just kind of knew. I don't know. I don't know if you still feel that way about it too, because I know it's very subjective.
It also depends on your idea of cozy, I think, as well.
That's true. Yeah, because I wasn't expecting it to have like combat and stuff, because I've never played a Pikmin game. It's my first one. I didn't know anything.
It was my first one as well. I avoided it specifically because I thought I couldn't handle it. Like I remember watching my dad playing like Lemmings, and I was like, I could never play anything like that where you have so many like little creatures that you all control and you look after them. And I was like, no, that's not about that. But I picked up Pikmin 4 for my dad, played it on stream once because I was like, oh, I'll just see if it's okay before I give it to him. And then I was like, oh, I'm hooked. Oh no.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I haven't finished yet. I'm in the last part where like I'm in the house now. So I don't know how far you got, or if you completely saw the whole story or not.
I can't remember now. I think I got close to the end. I'm not sure if I have this thing where I can't finish games.
I mean,
like,
same.
I don't
many.
I'll get close to them, and then I'm like, I'm enjoying this. I don't want it to end. I don't want it to finish too soon. So then I'll go play something else, and then I'll try and come back to it, and I'll be like, I don't know what I'm doing. And that's why I restarted Breath of the Wild like 4 times.
Yeah. Okay, I'm having a different issue with not wanting to finish this game. So I just got to tell you what I think about it right off the bat. I love this game. And I don't want it to end. And I don't feel like that with games. Like, I don't remember ever really feeling like that with games, but I've heard of other people being like, I don't finish games because I don't want them to end.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this is my first time having that. So, yeah, I love it. And I think it's so fun.
I feel like cozy gamers avoid it because it doesn't look cozy, but it's actually like a really fun take on almost like a puzzle game.
It is
more so than a combat game, which I think it's not always sold. It's not sold as being like a puzzling experience, but it's what Nintendo do best, which is hiding puzzle games inside of other genres.
Yeah, it's also so cute. Like the way they just go, like screaming. Oh my gosh, I love that. That gave me like so much adrenaline. And then I found out that they could like die, and I'm like, oh my god!
The little ghost floats up, and
yeah, and I was like, well, we gotta rewind now because I'm not allowing that.
Yeah, I just like the cutscenes when you get a new Pikmin as well.
Me too. Yes, my favorite ones are the yellow ones with the ears. So I love them. Yeah, so I found every type of Pikmin in this game, I'm pretty sure, because I got that achievement. And then I went, because I didn't want to move on to like the next area, because I think it's the last area like in the house. So I just 100% at the last 3 areas. So I'm like really into this, and I didn't expect that. I also played Tinykin for this video, and I had a different experience. Like I don't feel like they are as similar as maybe I thought they would be. I think they're actually pretty different, but same like mechanics and stuff. I don't know if you played that.
I've played a little bit of it, not as much as Pikmin. I think I was the same, that it didn't draw me in the same way. Like Pikmin was a game that once you started it, you were like, hold on a second, I don't want to put this down.
Yeah.
Whereas I didn't get, like, Tinykin was an enjoyable game, but it didn't have the same pull that I felt from Pikmin. And I think that's just a sprinkling of Nintendo magic on that kind of game.
I feel like the game is not overly difficult, but there was times where I'm like, oh, is this getting harder? I don't want it to get harder. Like I kind of like it being simple. And then they were like, oh, you could just throw a bomb at it. Like the guys, they like remind you, these little reminders in the game. And I'm like, I didn't realize I could do that. So then I was like figuring out different mechanics along the way. So yeah, I feel like it's a simple but fun, and it has a lot of variety. Like you can go into these little caves, and that kind of changes it up, or you can just go throughout the main area and work on that. You can just kind of do your own goals.
I don't know if the upgrades was new to this Pikmin either. I know being able to pick what you look like, that's new, because normally you pay as one of the characters. But I don't know if the whole like, and the dog thing, I can't remember the
That's new. Ochi.
Yeah. But I don't know if like the upgrade, because you can upgrade things as you go on your like outside your ship. I don't know if that's new. But I
I
kind
don't
of like.
know either, but I think there's a lot of like upgrades like that in the game, which make people like this one a lot. And one thing I read online is like Ochi is really helpful because all the Pikmin you can like carry them on him.
So cute.
So
He's
that's
so cute.
easier, like, than having them all follow you around. Because if you do try to do combat and they're following you around if too close, then the enemy will smush them all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. So it does make that easier too. Yeah, and Dandori is like the where you have to race to get as many points as you can.
Yeah.
That kind of surprised me too. I don't know if that's new in this game either.
I think it is. I think it is from the direct. That was like a big like selling point part of it.
Oh,
So
okay.
I assume it is new.
Yeah, so I heard like one of my friends was like, I hate those levels, but I like those levels too. Like they're so fun for me. So yeah, obviously I also think it's S tier.
I'm so glad. I was so worried when you started talking. I was like, oh
I
god, I'm
know.
gonna have to sit here and explain myself as to why I
saw
love
your
it when you
face.
hated it.
I'm like, oops, I didn't mean for that to be so cryptic.
I don't know if you have this as a content creator, but I definitely do, of trying to learn how to not be personally offended when someone says they hate a game that you love.
Oh my gosh.
I always take it as such like a hit, and it's like, no, it's just someone else's opinion. It's fine. Like I was still working on the, not dying a bit inside when someone's like, oh no, I hate that game.
No, that's like my fear with this video and talking to the creators about after playing the game. I didn't think about, oh, what if I don't like it? Like, or as much as they did. And like, then I have to explain it, but you don't have to explain it, like sometimes you just really like the game and someone else doesn't. And you don't even know why all the time. Maybe it's the time you picked it up and I don't know, because I feel like that too.
That surprised me with Pikmin is I didn't expect to love it. Like, I went into this being like, I'm a cozy gamer, the Pikmin can die, and this sounds stressful, and this sounds the opposite of cozy, like there's a time limit, and I think I was just going to find it too much, and then 2 minutes in, I was like, this isn't as bad as I thought it was. What was I worried about?
Yeah, and also, the other thing I want to say about this is I feel like it's kind of an underrated, like, first-party Switch game. Maybe it's not, but I feel like I didn't hear people talking about it or influencing me to play it.
It's got like a really solid core audience, but that audience hasn't spread in the same way it has for a lot of other games. I feel the same about Xenoblade. Like, I love Xenoblade Chronicles 3, for example. Okay. I think it's one of the best games I've ever played. I cried for like 6 hours straight for the end of that game. It has like a really core loving, and everyone who plays it loves it, but it hasn't spread. They're exclusives as well, which is wild.
Yeah, some of them, they're franchises they don't push as hard, I think. But yeah, this one's definitely really good. It only came out like last summer, I think. Yeah, I just didn't see it like pick up as much as some of these other games. So
especially in cozy gaming, I think a lot of people were put off, and I'm like, no, please try it. Like, I think it's because there's no difficulty settings or ability to like control the time, that you can't like fully micromanage your experience in the same way you can with a lot of other cozy games that maybe put people off. But honestly, I think there's a demo as well. Just try it. Just give it a go.
Definitely. So I'm really glad I ended up playing this one. And yeah, I want to go back and play the other games, even though I know they won't be the same because they're older.
Yeah.
But I want to try it. Yeah, I loved it. So thanks for
I'm so glad. I'm so worried.
I know. It's so nerve-wracking, but... And also, I got all my friends... Do you remember this one direct where they did, like, Pikmin Bloom, and it's like Pokemon Go, but Pikmin?
Yeah. My dad plays every day.
Yeah, I got all my friends playing that, and I'm playing that. It's really... So I'm really
So I had to buy it physically because my dad really wanted the Pikmin keyring, and he was like, if you're gonna buy it, we have to buy it from the Nintendo store. We have to get all these things for it because I want these like things, because he's obsessed with Pikmin. It's his favorite franchise of Nintendo. So
has he played the other games?
Yeah, to completion. He's finished all of them because you can get them all on the Switch. Yeah, he loves.
Awesome.
My first experience with Pikmin was actually my dad came up to my room with his Switch, and he was like, Iona, I'm stuck. And I was like, what do you mean you're stuck? He's like, I know you've never played Pikmin before, but if I put it in your TV in your room and I give you a controller, will you be able to help me so we can do both team up and do everything? So it was just me and my dad sat on my bed trying to help him through what turned out to be the end of Pikmin 3 that he was stuck on.
That's so cool. Yeah, we should have had your dad on here. But-
Some people on my channel, like when I do reviews and I say, this game wasn't for me, but my dad adored it. There's all these comments going, me and your dad have the same taste.
I love
Like I must be
that.
Iona's dad.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Okay. Well, yeah, thank you again so much for being on this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for
And
having me.
thank you so much for checking out this video. You can watch some other videos right here. And thank you so much to the members of this channel for being members. And hopefully, I'll see you in my next YouTube video. Bye.